Hey everyone, John here with what's probably the biggest leak we'll ever cover, because there is no question to the validity. This is 100% real. And the reason we know that is because basically the FTC has screwed over Microsoft and leaked some very confidential and important documents. There's quite a few things to cover here, so bear with me. But the largest thing is their roadmap until 2030. So let's take a look at this thing. This is the Xbox roadmap until 2030. Now, it starts off by just sort of covering where they currently are, where they want to be. But let's just skip ahead to the really big stuff. So this slide here shows gaming today. There's browsers for cloud gaming, there's consoles, there's controllers, there's PCs, there's headsets. But let's scroll down to Xbox Gaming Beyond. Now, you may notice a couple of new things in here. There is a handheld, of all things, there's brand new consoles, and there's a premium controller. And all of this stuff will be elaborated on in just a moment. But this is basically what they want to achieve by 2030. These consoles here are refreshes. They're still Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, but they're new versions of them. There's also a cloud device, but yeah, that handheld is a bit of an enigma. And yeah, let's just keep on scrolling. So, this is Brooklyn, the revised Xbox Series X, the mid-gen revision, basically the slim version. Now, you may remember recently Phil said there would not be any mid-gen revisions. I don't think he was entirely telling the truth. So while this is not a more powerful Xbox Series X, this is a revision of one. It's basically the slim, like mini consoles do. I hate this tagline, the most powerful Xbox ever, now adorably all digital. Flip off, Phil. So, Brooklyn will deliver 4K Gen 9 console gaming with more internal storage, faster Wi-Fi, reduced power, a more immersive controller, and a beautiful redesign that elevates the all-digital experience of the Xbox ecosystem. So Xbox, they want to go entirely digital, ditching the disc tray entirely. And it makes sense, I suppose. They're pushing Game Pass. They don't really care about physical boxes anymore, as much as it hurts me. Giving our fans more to love. Beautiful and innovative new design. More internal storage for games, 2 terabytes. USB-C front port with power delivery. All new, more immersive controller. Same great $499 price. I love that they call it a beautiful new innovative design, and it looks more like a speaker than Xbox Series S ever did. They cannot beat the speaker allegations. So the general gist with this one is they're reducing the power outtake, so it's going to take less electricity to power, and there's more recyclable materials to build this thing. So it's not necessarily a jump, but it is something that they want to achieve with lower costs and less of a footprint. And then there's a new Xbox Series S. This is called Elwood, and it looks pretty much the exact same. So Elwood will deliver Gen 9 console gaming with more internal storage, faster Wi-Fi, reduced power, and more immersive controller for the same affordable price. So it's very much the same thing that the previous one was. Less of a power draw, just less costly materials, same console. But they keep mentioning a new controller. So let's find out what this thing is. This is Sybil, the new Xbox controller. The general gist of this thing is it's got haptic feedback, it links to the cloud, and it's got an accelerometer. Now, those are all pretty big deals considering Xbox are pushing cloud gaming so much, but the haptics are the really interesting part because they sound like they're going ahead of what the DualSense offers. So let's see what it means by feel the game. Precision haptic feedback, VCA haptics double as speakers, accelerometer, and quieter buttons and thumbsticks, so they won't be as clicky. But the whole doubling as a speaker thing's really interesting. So I suppose the rumbles will sort of have more of a 3D sound to them, which is interesting. Also, there's rechargeable and swappable batteries. That's a big bullet point because they've never had that in a wireless controller before. And there's new modular thumbsticks, improved longevity, continued build improvements. The accelerometer is really interesting too. They say you can lift it to wake it up. So I guess instead of pressing the Xbox home button, you just sort of lift it. And hopefully that doesn't wake up the console because I can see that being kind of annoying. But accelerometer is a big deal. Xbox's first-party game, Deathloop, had a gyro update on PlayStation 5, and of course Xbox can't benefit from that. So their first-party title is superior on PlayStation. There's some of the biggest games in the world, like Fortnite, have gyro on Switch and PlayStation, but not Xbox. So finally catching up with that is a big deal. So yeah, this is a pretty cool controller, and it's going to be bundled with the revisions of the next Xbox consoles. So when are they coming? Well, soon. They are scheduled to launch around September of the 2025 physical year, which is like a year from now. Really, really soon. They could be revealed at the Game Awards for all we know. I also love this slide here, the voice of the player. Xbox has made buying my games digitally as easy and affordable as discs. Plus, I can play those games on multiple devices I already own. I don't miss my disc drive at all. So, where does the handheld come into all of this? Well, there is this pyramid showing exactly what they're achieving right now. So already funded, they've got cloud consoles, they've got Gen 10 investments, so the next system. They've got the wireless headset, they've got the mid-gen revisions, being the stuff we already talked about, and the new controller. So that stuff is 100% locked in. Not currently funded and resourced, but they are planned to do, is stuff like a new Elite controller, a luxury controller, console customization. So I guess that would be like making your own Xbox controllers like you already can, but for the console. New cloud server blades, PC accessories, there's a bunch of things in there. And then right at the top, not in scope for first party, is earbuds, media remote, mobile controller, and the handheld. So what does that mean exactly? The handheld is on their radar, but as of right now, it isn't being funded. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this with the next generation of consoles, but while a handheld is definitely being planned by Xbox, it doesn't seem like they are 100% working on it right now. But it is a thing. It is a thing they want to do. And it makes a lot of sense. Mobile chips are catching up with consoles at a very rapid rate, and I'm sure they want some of that Nintendo slice of the pie. So there is more stuff, though. There's plenty more stuff to talk about here. Such as, next gen is coming in 2028. So you can see right here, they've laid out the roadmap of when Xbox consoles have shipped. You've got the original 360, Xbox One, the current generation. And there's going to be a full convergence in 2028 for the next generation of systems. So 5 years from now. It doesn't feel like this current generation has really hit its stride in any capacity. So the fact that they've planned 5 more years of this, hopefully it finds its footing. But yeah, let's talk about video games though, because not only has this all leaked, but so has Bethesda's lineup for a very long time. Let's take a look. So we've basically got the planned Bethesda lineup here from 2020, when this document was originally shared with the FTC, until 2024. So this is all pretty immediate future stuff. And it's kind of interesting to see what was sort of shifted around, because they definitely intended for the Indiana Jones game to be shipping a lot sooner than it did. That was planned for 2022. So that definitely got delayed. So it's kind of just interesting to see how they manage their projects here. Starfield was a 2021 game planned. But let's go beyond what we already know. Let's look at what we don't know. Let's look at some brand new games that we've never heard of before. So they plan to remaster a few Bethesda games. They wanted to release the Oblivion remaster in 2022. So I imagine that's probably coming next year, but that's like a 2-year delay. What else is down here? They've also got Starfield DLC that was meant to release last year, but Starfield only released this year. And I think one of the biggest things here for me is Doom Year Zero. They're making a new Doom game, which makes sense, but there's the official title, Doom Year Zero. And they plan a wave of DLC. They wanted DLC to launch this year with that game, which hasn't been announced. And they also wanted DLC to launch next year, but that's probably going to be a 2025 thing, I imagine now. Project Kestrel and Project Platinum, they're just code names, we don't know what they are, but Project Platinum is also getting DLC down the line. And they wanted Elder Scrolls 6 to release by 2024 originally, but we know that there's no way that's happening. There's more licensed games planned too. Indiana Jones is being done by Machine Games, and I suppose they want more Bethesda studios to be working on licensed games, probably getting part of that Spider-Man pie. But also a Fallout 3 remaster is planned. Ghostwire Tokyo sequel. Dishonored 3. There's many big games in here, which I suppose could be announced any moment now if they were planned for 2024, but clearly a lot of this stuff has been completely shifted off schedule. And this was probably shared to the FTC to show like what they're doing with their acquisitions, because of course this whole thing was to justify buying Activision, so they're showing exactly what they're doing with Bethesda. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is an email from Phil Spencer about his career-defining wish to buy Nintendo. So let's read it. Takashi, I totally agree that Nintendo is the prime asset for us in gaming, and today, gaming is our most likely path to consumer relevance. I've had numerous conversations with the LT of Nintendo about tighter collaboration, and feel like if any US company would have a chance with Nintendo, we are probably the best position. The unfortunate, or fortunate for Nintendo situation, is that Nintendo is sitting on a big pile of cash. They have a BOD that until recently has not pushed further increases in market growth or stock appreciation. I say until recently, as our former Microsoft BOD member ValueAct has been heavily acquiring shares of Nintendo, and I've kept in touch with Mason Morfitt as he's been acquiring. It's likely he'll be pushing for more from Nintendo stock, which could create opportunities for us. Without that catalyst, I don't see an angle to a near-term mutually agreeable merger of Nintendo and Microsoft, and I don't think a hostile action would be a good move, so we are playing the long game. But our BOD has seen the full write-up on Nintendo and Valve, and they are fully supportive on either if opportunities arise, as I am. So yeah, Valve's in there too. Let's keep reading. Confidently, we have two fairly active M&A discussions in gaming right now, Warner Bros. Interactive and ZeniMax. I took ZeniMax to the BOD last week, and prior to the BOD discussion, I asked Amy and Satya if they wanted me to slow either or both given the TikTok discussions, and they both empathetically told me no. They are fine doing all three of these if the deals make sense. I won't say Warner Bros. Or Zenny is Nintendo, but both are for sale and gettable by us if things align. Biggest obstacle in WB is IP ownership. We wouldn't own any of the IP, which hurts long-term flexibility, and the only obstacle in Zenny is valuation expectations of founders. But I think it's likely one or both of these happen, which will help us continue to double down on our gaming relevance. To give a sense of scale, ZeniMax is about the size of our current first-party studios organization, so that would be doubling our content asset. Downside is it's more core, less broad, not mobile, more North American European. I love this discussion, and value you looking for the opportunities here. At some point, getting Nintendo would be a career moment, and I honestly believe a good move for both companies. It's just taking a long time for Nintendo to see that their future exists off their own hardware. A long time. Phil. There is a lot to digest there, and it's honestly quite scary. Xbox want everybody. They want to acquire everybody. We're not seeing them slow down. I don't think Activision will be the end by any means. They wanted Warner Brothers. They got ZeniMax. That happened after this email. But clearly, they want Nintendo. And it makes sense for them in some degree. They acknowledge there that Bethesda is doubling down on their Western content, and that's not their problem. Their problem is the variety of what they offer. And Nintendo would definitely give them their Japanese variety. But can we ever see a future of that happening? Nintendo is so successful right now, and as Phil points out, they are sitting on a mountain of cash. They are not really up to be acquired. However, it doesn't seem that's going to stop at Microsoft, who are basically armed with a limitless bank account. And even the Microsoft board of directors are encouraging Phil. They wanted him to buy both Warner Brothers and ZeniMax while they were looking at buying TikTok. It's a scary world out there. But that is generally the gist of everything that's gone down. We know that Microsoft are planning console revisions really soon. We know the next generation is planned for 2028. We know a lot of their games got delayed. We know a lot of their games that haven't been announced. We know there's a new controller coming with gyro and haptics. And we know that they want, down the line, to own Nintendo. So I'm going to cut it here, because I'm still digesting all of this, so you take it on yourselves. What do you think of this? I don't know what I think of this. I think it's scary. But I guess I'll see you next time, everyone. Bye.